Deep in the golden grasslands of Africa, a male lion rests beneath the afternoon sun, his magnificent mane catching the light with every subtle breath. He is, by every measure, one of the most dominant creatures in his ecosystem, feared by nearly every animal that shares his territory. Yet, hidden within that thick, powerful mane, thousands of ticks and parasites cling to his skin, feeding steadily on an animal whose strength offers no defense against something this small. Lions, despite their reputation for power and dominance, face a persistent biological challenge that has nothing to do with size or strength. Their dense fur, particularly the elaborate mane carried by mature males, creates countless hidden pockets where parasites can settle undisturbed. The neck, ears, and base of the mane are especially vulnerable, warm, difficult to reach areas where a lion's own grooming simply cannot achieve full coverage, regardless of how frequently the animal attempts to clean itself. Throughout the day, subtle signs of this ongoing struggle become visible. The lion shakes his head sharply, ears flicking against irritation, buried too deep to reach directly. He rolls onto his back in the tall grass, exposing his belly momentarily in an attempt to relieve an itch his own body cannot properly address. He rubs his face and neck against nearby trees or rocks, each attempt offering only temporary, incomplete relief from thousands of parasites embedded throughout his coat. This is where an unexpected partnership enters the story. An oxpecker, a small bird typically associated with grazing herbivores rather than apex predators, lands directly onto the lion's back. This interaction, while less commonly documented than similar relationships involving buffalo, rhinos, or giraffes, does occur, particularly when a resting lion remains still long enough to offer this rare and valuable opportunity. The bird moves cautiously at first, testing the situation before committing fully. Instinct quickly overrides hesitation, and its sharp, narrow beak begins working through the lion's fur, parting strands methodically until locating a dense cluster of ticks feeding just beneath the surface. One by one, the oxpecker extracts them, working with the same practiced precision it applies across countless other large mammal hosts throughout its range. For the lion, tolerating this activity requires a moment of genuine vulnerability, an unusual state for an animal accustomed to dominating nearly every interaction within its environment. Yet the benefit clearly outweighs the risk. The oxpecker presents no threat, offers no competition, and provides a service the lion cannot replicate independently. Before we continue deeper into this remarkable relationship, if stories like this one, real, patient, unscripted moments from the wild, are something you find yourself genuinely drawn to, consider subscribing to this channel. It genuinely helps us keep exploring and sharing these hidden corners of the natural world. And honestly, it motivates us to keep going. Now, back to the savannah. As the bird continues its work, it moves deeper into the lion's mane, an area especially rich in hidden parasites due to its thickness and density. Here, the oxpecker's narrow beak becomes particularly valuable, able to part layers of fur that even the lion's own claws struggle to separate effectively. Ticks that have burrowed deep near the base of the mane, close to the neck and shoulders, are exposed and removed with methodical precision. This cleaning process delivers genuine physiological benefit. Heavy tick infestations can cause skin irritation, localized infection, and unnecessary energy expenditure, as the lion repeatedly attempts, often unsuccessfully, to self-groom these difficult areas. By allowing the oxpecker to complete this task, the lion effectively conserves energy that would otherwise be wasted on ineffective grooming attempts, a valuable trade-off for a predator that depends heavily on energy conservation between hunts. For the oxpecker, the benefit is equally significant. perhaps even more so given the rarity of this particular feeding opportunity. Access to a lion's fur, especially the mane, represents an underutilized food source compared to the more commonly visited herbivores most oxpeckers rely upon. Fewer birds compete for this specific opportunity, meaning potentially richer, less contested feeding, provided the bird can maintain the lion's continued tolerance. As the oxpecker works along the lion's shoulder and neck, the lion remains remarkably still, shifting only occasionally to grant better access to a persistent itch. This level of calm cooperation between one of Africa's most formidable predators and one of its smallest, opportunistic birds highlights an important truth about the natural world. Even the fiercest animals sometimes require assistance they cannot provide themselves. This relationship demonstrates mutualism in its purest form, two entirely different species benefiting simultaneously without meaningful cost to either. The lion receives thorough parasite removal impossible to achieve alone, while the oxpecker gains reliable, valuable nutrition through minimal effort. Neither species consciously understands the biological complexity of this exchange, yet their behavior consistently produces mutual benefit shaped over countless generations. Interestingly, this interaction between lions and oxpeckers, while documented, remains less consistent than similar relationships with herbivores, largely due to the inherent risks small birds face when approaching any large predator. This makes each successful interaction particularly noteworthy, a testament to the adaptability of both species when circumstances align favorably. As the bird moves toward the lion's ear, an area especially prone to tick clusters due to its thin skin and constant exposure, it works with remarkable care, extracting several more parasites from this sensitive region. This precision requires both skill and an inherent understanding of exactly how far physical contact can extend before triggering any defensive reaction from an animal significantly larger and more powerful. Meanwhile, across the wider savanna, this same relationship repeats itself constantly, largely unseen by human observers. Lions resting in shade, on rocky outcrops or near waterholes, occasionally host these small birds, each interaction contributing to broader parasite control across the local ecosystem, indirectly benefiting other species that share the same environment. This partnership also offers insight into how apex predators manage health and survival beyond simply hunting and territorial defense. Physical well-being depends on far more than strength alone. Parasite management, energy conservation, and opportunistic cooperation all play essential roles in maintaining the condition necessary for long-term survival within a competitive, resource-limited environment. As the afternoon light begins to shift, casting warmer tones across the golden grassland, the oxpecker completes its work, having cleared a significant portion of the thousands of parasites once covering the lion's neck, mane, and back. The bird lingers briefly before eventually taking flight, disappearing across the savanna in search of its next opportunity, whether returning to more typical herbivore hosts or encountering another unusually patient predator. The lion, now visibly more relaxed, settles deeper into the grass, his earlier restlessness replaced by genuine calm. Fewer parasites mean reduced irritation, decreased risk of infection, and ultimately more conserved energy for what matters most to an animal of his stature and responsibility within the pride, successful hunting, and continued territorial dominance. This quiet, often overlooked partnership between lion and oxpecker reveals something fundamental about nature itself. Dominance and raw power, while essential for survival in many circumstances, cannot solve every challenge an animal encounters. Sometimes meaningful relief comes not through strength, but through cooperation, through the willingness of even the most formidable creatures to accept help from something far smaller, far less imposing, yet ultimately just as essential to survival as strength, speed, or ferocity alone.